Guzheng cognitive load. Your brain is literally sabotaging your own learning right now, and you have no idea it's happening. Not because you're bad at learning, because your teacher is accidentally overloading you with information while trying to help. A musician in China just published evidence that the way we teach complex skills, especially instruments, might be fundamentally broken. So what's actually happening in your head when you're supposed to be improving? Context. Here's what we've known for years. Learning is hard. Your brain has a finite amount of attention, a finite amount of working memory, and when you stuff too much into that space at once, nothing sticks. It's like trying to download 5 videos on dial-up. The bandwidth just isn't there. For centuries, music teachers have been operating on gut instinct. They'd watch a student struggle and either slow down, speed up, or throw in more information. No framework, no science behind it. Then cognitive load theory showed up in the 1980s and changed everything, or at least it should have. The theory is simple. The more you overwhelm someone's working memory, the worse they learn. But until recently, almost nobody had actually tested this framework inside real music education, especially not with complex instruments like the Guzheng. That gap matters. In July of 2026, a researcher at Heilongjiang University decided to fix that. Researchers Yining Wu, based in Harbin, China at Heilongjiang University, spent months combing through research on cognitive load theory and music learning. Wu wasn't starting from zero here. Cognitive load theory has been around for decades, but applying it specifically to Guzheng education, that was new. The study was published in Frontiers in Psychology, one of the largest open-access psychology journals in the world. Wu's work is a narrative review, which means it's not one single experiment, but rather a deep analysis of existing research filtered through cognitive load theory, asking one central question: what if we've been teaching this instrument all wrong? So what did Wu actually look at? The study. A narrative review isn't a traditional lab experiment. Instead, Wu systematically searched through thousands of studies, specifically from 2019 to 2025, looking for anything touching on music learning, skill acquisition, and cognitive load. The Guzheng itself is a traditional Chinese instrument with 21 strings. It requires learners to read notation, move their fingers precisely, listen critically to their own sound, and interpret the music emotionally. All simultaneously. That's like juggling while riding a unicycle while doing mental math. Wu collected research on 3 specific teaching methods: demonstrations, segmented practice, breaking skills into smaller chunks, and feedback scaffolding, which is the idea of gradually reducing how much help you give someone as they improve. Think of it like training wheels. You use them at first, then slowly phase them out as balance improves. Wu cross-referenced Guzheng-specific studies with broader music research, then with general complex skill learning. The goal was to figure out which teaching methods actually reduce cognitive load rather than accidentally increasing it. Findings. What Wu found was striking. Cognitive load in Guzheng learning isn't just about how hard the instrument is, it's about how the teaching itself is designed. Specifically, 4 things kept showing up in the research as cognitive load killers. First, split attention. When a teacher demonstrates something while the student reads sheet music while someone's talking, the student's brain is bouncing between 3 different information sources. That jumping around? That destroys learning. It's not that any one source is too hard, it's that your brain can't process all of them at the same time. Second, poorly coordinated multimedia. If a video shows the teacher's hands moving, but the audio is out of sync, or the notation doesn't match what you're hearing, your working memory gets flooded trying to reconcile the mismatch. You're using brain power to figure out what's contradictory instead of actually learning the skill. Third, redundant digital input. This is the killer most teachers don't know about. If you show someone a written explanation, then read that exact same explanation aloud, you're not helping. You're actually making it worse. Your brain is wasting cycles processing the same information twice instead of deepening understanding. Fourth, attentional switching during demonstrations. When a teacher stops playing mid-phrase to explain something, then starts again, learners have to reset their attention twice. That cognitive cost adds up fast. What was promising, though, was what actually worked. Integrated notation, where the visual symbols and the sound are perfectly locked together, reduced cognitive overload significantly. Segmented practice, where learners break complex pieces into small sections and master those before combining them, showed consistent benefits across studies. Worked examples with fading support, showing the solution first, then gradually removing that scaffolding, appeared pedagogically sound. But here's the honest limitation. Most of this research was on other instruments or general skill learning. Direct Guzheng-specific evidence was limited. Wu couldn't say definitively that every principle worked the same way on a Guzheng as on a violin or in programming. That matters. What this means, if you're learning an instrument or anything complex, this research suggests your teacher should be obsessed with not confusing you. That sounds obvious, but it's not how most lessons work. A good lesson might eliminate split attention by showing, not talking while showing. It might use segmented practice, teaching you 8 bars this week, 16 the next week, instead of dumping the whole piece on you. It might give you worked examples, showing you exactly how a passage should sound, then slowly take those examples away as you improve. The limitation is real, though. We don't have massive studies on Guzheng learners yet. We have evidence from adjacent fields, and learners vary wildly. What overwhelms one person might bore another. Cognitive load theory gives us a framework, but it's not a magic bullet. The bigger picture. What Wu's work does is challenge a massive assumption in music education, that more information is better. That good teaching means explaining more, demonstrating more, giving more feedback. Cognitive load theory flips that. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes the best teaching is ruthlessly minimal, designed around how human brains actually work, not how teachers assume they work. This opens a wild question nobody's really answered yet. How many other complex skills are we teaching wrong in exactly this way? Programming courses that overload students with syntax while trying to teach logic. Mathematics instruction that presents notation and spoken explanation simultaneously. Athletic coaching that talks through a movement while the athlete is trying to watch and imitate. If cognitive load theory is right, we're sabotaging learning all over the place. The bigger implication is this. Education science is finally catching up to what the brain actually needs. And that's only going to accelerate. Sign off. Here's the mind-blowing part. The worst way to teach someone is to try to teach them everything at once, and we've been doing that for centuries. So the question isn't whether your teacher is slowing you down. The question is, how much of what you've struggled to learn was actually just bad teaching design, not your fault? Turns out, scientists have been busy, and they're not done yet.